My name is John Velverde, and I am 17 years old.
John had a difficult childhood. His biological parents were drug addicts, were unable to care for him appropriately. So when he was 18 months old, he was taken from their home and placed in a foster home. That foster home actually ended up adopting him. But within a few years, the situation in their family changed, and they chose to put him back in foster care. However, when he went into foster care at that point, he went into foster care with Thompson.
When I first met John, he was entering our foster care program at the age of 10. I remember looking down into his eyes, and he was a fragile, scared child at the time. And we locked eyes for a minute. It's like he said, "Help me." You can tell that he was really looking and seeking reassurance in that moment.
John had already been through a lot of difficulties and tragedies in his life, but one morning when he was with his foster mom, and he had been with her for 4.5 years, he woke up to her in respiratory distress. Later that morning, we all found out that his foster mom had actually passed away.
Of course, we had to prepare John for yet another move. And John requested a specific family that he wanted to live with. And that family was Steve and Wendy Hall. The Halls didn't hesitate. When they learned of the incident and knew that John was in this situation, they quickly responded.
I need a family to drive me crazy, call me out when I'm low and lazy.
Foster care services are probably one of the most important things we do here at Thompson. Research actually does show that within foster care, the two main ingredients that produce change is the relationship between the foster parent and the child, but also the relationship between the foster parent and their support staff.
I think it's really important because it meets the immediate needs of a child, but it also can go so much further than that. And so our experience has been is that we have a place and a home and a family that is just really committed to bringing in children that are hurting, that need some more healing in their lives, but then ultimately to prepare them for their next stop, and that's a forever home.
You are the memory that won't ever lapse when 25 years have suddenly passed. Wherever you take me, it's clear I will go. Your love's the one love that I need to know. Your love's the one love that I need.
As the Halls continued to provide the safety net for John, we also had to work towards helping John heal. And as a result, we had to talk about finding John a forever family once again.
Here we are as a family thinking about what John's future is going to hold, and each day he's getting older. And you start to feel like, okay, what does his future hold? I mean, the statistics for children the age of 16 getting adopted are just minuscule. The summer that he turned 16, John did go to this adoption event, and at the bowling alley, he met this really nice, sweet family, and I had that glimmer of hope that maybe something could still happen for John, even at the age of 16.
The first time that I met John was at an adoption event, and we got the opportunity to bowl with about 15 or 16 kids. And John was the one that we were really connected with. We felt a connection with him, and I just really felt like he was the one that we were supposed to pursue. Since John was 16 when we met him, and he came to live with us at that age, we assured him from day one that he would not have to leave when he turned 18, that we were going to be here for him, and that we would be his forever family.
'Cause I know that you're scared, but I swear you'll be alright. Swear you're alright. You're alright.
Well, I believe that the halls were part of God's plan for John. The fact that he was with them before he came to live with us, it was wonderful because the halls are a great Christian family, very loving, very caring. And to this day, I still appreciate so much their advice for John, their encouragement, because they are a family that truly do care. So I believe that John is the person he is today because he was with a good family for a good time, and he learned so much from the halls. I let him know that from the very beginning, God has always had his eye on him, and he's never forgotten him, and that God has a plan and a purpose for his life, and that this is just another stepping stone to that plan.
Read it on a map, never how I planned it, holding on for what, taking it for granted. I was looking up, I was being blinded, holding on for what, hoping that I find it.
And so you never know how the pieces are going to fall into place, but somehow they always do. And so that hope can be disappointing at times, but it always ends up working out. And in John's case, it absolutely did.
I was looking up, holding on to patience, counting up the days that I've been waiting.
Thompson has definitely been a family for John through many different transitions.
Don't give up because there's always a family for everybody. My life was transformed in many different ways, and Thompson was a huge part of it.
There's still hope out here, and there's still people who genuinely care, who will care for you and love you.
As we look back on John's transformation through his foster care with us, you can just see development in all areas of his life. But over all that, you just really see that John went from being a survivor of so much trauma to being a thriver.
I have waited all my life.
It's been an absolute privilege to see such an amazing transformation in John's life. And now he has been able to be given, but also fully accept unconditional love. And it's taken this forever family for him to have the confidence and the stability to know that he will be loved forever.
I can honestly say that our lives have been transformed because of John coming into our home. We are much better people than we were before we had John, and we want him to know that he can always come home to us, that we are his home. And I tell John, we just love having you with us. Our home feels more complete with you here.